All right, I just got done editing this video. I think you're really going to enjoy it. We're going to go over today how you can price cutting boards. And then we're going to go over a couple different ways to do it. Number one, how to do a one-off cutting board. Number two, how to do batched cutting boards. I'm going to give you a couple different tips on how to batch projects like this to where you can make the most profit and your customers are going to be happy with your price too. So here we go. All right, hey, what's up? Got a lot of stuff going on this week. While I'm waiting on the coffee table to finish up, before we start sanding and finishing and doing the final assembly, I'm gonna knock out really quick a cutting board. I had a buddy from college reach out, found the channel, thought it was awesome, and he messaged me wanting a new cutting board. He and his wife, they wanted it exactly this by that, so I will make detailed plans accordingly. But yeah, he wanted to keep it about $100, maybe a little less. So I've got to keep this under 1 or 2 hours of labor, otherwise it gets to be too expensive. I don't want to blow his budget. So I'm just going to rip up some strips of just different types of hardwood that I have just laying around, and cutting boards with this is that you never really want to make one, right? Because it's going to be really hard to find a client unless they just really love your work that wants to only just buy one cutting board. The amount of time and energy it takes for you to make that one cutting board, you could probably make, I don't know, 5 or 6 cutting boards are really easy to batch out. And that's this week's business tip is when you have little things like this, it's good to just make 2 or 3 of them and then try to sell them later for a discount. So I didn't do that on this one because my buddy just wanted it, and I'm trying to get rid of scraps as much as possible before the move. But yeah, I would build like 2 or 3 because the amount of work that the amount of time it takes to build like 3 or 4. So like obviously if you're using scraps, like it's negligible, but even if you had to pay for the wood, like this is maybe $5-10 worth of wood depending on like what species you use. So I would just make like 4 or 5 of these cutting boards, and then as people want them and approach you and want them, you can sell them to them, you know, at a discount or at the bulk price, because it really only takes another like 20 minutes total to build 3 or 4 cutting boards instead of just building one. So your margin's gonna work out there. But again, I'll put up all the numbers for how much this one cost and how much I sold it for and all that fun business. But anyway, yeah, I'm super happy that my friend reached out to me and wanted this one. So this is the nicest cutting board I've made so far, and I really like it. Jenny and I do not want to let this one go, but anyway, it's been super exciting. But yeah, just focus on batching stuff out. Like when you're building multiples of something, especially little things. David Picciuto has a really good video on how to price things using a day rate. And if you build 5 or 6 in a day, then you just divide your day rate into that number of projects. That's a really good formula if you're doing multiples of things, if you're gearing up for a craft show, or if you just have a lot of things that sell quickly. Another thing too is dimensions. Plan your dimensions according to how you get your lumber. So plan your projects to where you have as little scrap left over as possible. And sometimes you have to make 2 or 3 of something before the dimensions work out to be just perfect, of so many legs, so many aprons, so many everything else, if that makes any sense at all. So play around with some of your best selling furniture pieces and see if you can't tweak the dimensions a little bit so you can squeeze 2 or 3 benches or tables or stools or cutting boards or coasters or whatever it is that you sell. See if you can't squeeze a few more out of maybe just 1 extra unit of wood. I hope this is making sense. This is something that we did when we pitched a restaurant a couple months back, and one of the things that we planned was making benches out of 2x6s, and we had it all calculated out how we were going to make each bench, or two benches out of 2 12-foot long 2x6s, and it was gonna work out really well as far as dimensioning and figuring out exactly how much material we needed, so we didn't overbuy and we didn't have a lot of waste left over. This cutting board just looks so sick. I hope that the camera's doing it justice, but that purple heart and that walnut right next to each other, man, that's pretty. Absolutely seamless. And it's really rich. So this walnut is from walnut stock that I bought when we were driving through one of the bigger towns in the state, and he had a lot of really figured walnut, and it was just flames. And I've got a couple other pieces still left out there, but this is a scrap piece. So there's a lot of figure that I don't think the camera is picking up, but there's a lot of depth to it, which looks really nice. And of course, purple heart. It's purple heart. Looks pretty. And then cherry. And I don't know, I kind of like the design. I designed this. I didn't let Jenny design it. She probably would have done a better job. But I kind of like the light going into dark and then back to light again. I don't know. Looks kind of like racing stripes or something like that. But yeah, all in all, it turned out really nice. I'm hoping that he enjoys it. He already saw the picture on Instagram, so I know he's excited to see it, and hope they get a lot of good use out of it.